and this is the Spit Bucket Podcast.
It's your boy, Mr. ILTBA, Mr. 214, Senor Dos Uno Cuatro, Senor Dos Catorce, Mr. Undeniable, Mr. These boys can't touch me. On my worst day, right here with my partner in crime, my dog, my brother from another, Mr. JJ Solomon. What's popping, my guy?
What's going on, bro? Every time I hear your intro, I gotta do something more than just JJ, dog. How you doing tonight, bro?
Hey, man, doing real good, bro. Just happy for tonight, especially with our special guest we got coming up tonight.
You want to go?
It's just exciting. I'm excited.
You want to go ahead and bring her on up? Let's go ahead and get ready to introduce the CEO of the American Boxing Federation, the always fabulously fancy, it's quote, fabulously fancy, Mrs. Clare Burke. Welcome to the show. How are you, man?
Hey, hi. I'm good. How are you guys?
Hey, we're doing great. We really appreciate you taking out the time to come on tonight, Clare.
I'm so excited about today. This is great. I love you guys.
We love you. We really love you because we love the sport. And if you love the sport of boxing, you have to love Clare Burke. You have to love you have to love what the ABF stands for, American Boxing Federation, and we appreciate that. But we're looking forward to tonight because you always hear don't judge a book by its cover, and we know that Miss Clare Burke does not hold back when it comes to calling out the BS that we see in boxing. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things you either love it or you hate it. And I don't care either way. Yeah. And I'm good with, So, I have to tell you, that all just kind of evolved. It wasn't something that I had planned, but it's just like, so it's just so prominent in the sport. And it's the part of the sport that I think the fans and people that don't really have like a backstage pass to even know that it goes on, but it goes on so much. And it's the fighters that get screwed.
Absolutely.
And who's speaking for them? So I guess the three of us.
And Corey and I have always felt that it's on us. It's the people that cover the sport, the people that are behind the scenes, because all that ends up happening is you watch a big fight. This is for the mainstream boxing, big fight party. And let's say we call it, there's different levels of, or not levels, there's different, it all falls under the same umbrella of corruption, whether it's a robbery, whether it's a fighter not getting paid. But all the fans see is, oh, that guy lost, he should have won. And for the fans, it ends there. But they don't realize how much it changes the boxer's life, especially for the up-and-comers, So we have this screenshot just for those audience who don't know what Clare Burke's about. This summarizes it all. This is a recent post. If I talk about the things this business that make people running it uncomfortable, understand, and I'm going to do the clap. That was the point. And
exactly.
And we appreciate that.
Exactly.
You have to make people uncomfortable. You have to call out the BS. And from what we've seen from you, you do not hold back. And that's awesome. We got a couple things we want to talk about tonight.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, my computer's kind of Corey. You can go, bro.
So Clare, when you made that post, you don't care if it make people uncomfortable. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, all right. For example, the most recent issue that now let me explain. I don't just go looking for these things. So last week, for example, I got a couple texts from numbers I didn't recognize saying, hey, I was in this fight and I got your number from, Israel or someone like that. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, he said, maybe you can help me get paid. Now, I can't make people pay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just one small little voice in a small little corner of boxing. But I can maybe get a couple thousand people to go, hey, what do you mean? They, Teresa Tapia didn't pay people. I mean, that whole thing is completely wild, but then the different things that started coming up from that. I mean, everyone from the fighters to people that I've never heard of to people you wouldn't even believe were involved to, okay, I'm going to call out Triller on this. Triller contacted somebody and had them contact me and asked me to take down the post.
Wow.
Well, all that did was make me more curious. So why is Triller so worried about this post?
Wow.
Right. So then I started looking into it. Well, there's like Joe Kelly from Kansas who has done this before. I don't know if you remember the fight that was the Sons of Legends in Vegas.
Yep.
So those guys didn't get paid. That was a Joe Kelly Triller thing. There was a thing in New York where Triller was involved. Remember a couple years ago when fighters didn't get paid.
Sure.
Then there was another one with Joe Kelly in, I believe it was Kansas. Joe Kelly and Triller in Kansas. Guys didn't get paid there. Now he did make it right, but it was 4 or 5 months later.
And that should.
So
every one of us expects to get paid. That's what direct deposit is for, right? That's why direct deposit was such a big thing when it first came, because we work, we expect to get paid, and nobody works nobody works like boxers. I believe that with all my heart. Now,
no, absolutely
we do have a bit of the screenshot of your post where you're inducting Joe Kelly, Teresa Tapia, and Triller into your Hall of Shame. And it's a long post, so we're not going to dive too much into the entire.
Right.
But what I appreciate about this is that Teresa Tapia is the wife of a legend, right? Is she the wife of a legend?
Right.
And according to her, from what we read, is she was kind of playing victim a little bit maybe, but you still weren't afraid to hold back, regardless.
You saw my eye roll, right?
Yeah. So you weren't afraid to hold back, regardless of who Johnny Tapia was and what he means to the sport, and that's what we need more of. So, well,
that angered me even more, though. She used to manage Johnny Tapia.
Sure.
And she used to call out Don King and say how Don King didn't treat him right and didn't pay him the way he was supposed to be paid. And I mean, we're talking way back, right? So now you have her. Look, this is my stance on it. I understand what happened. Triller contacted Teresa. I'll make it real short. Contacted Teresa Tapia. Teresa Tapia said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to do something with you. Let's collaborate on a show." So she thought, I don't know what she thought. Maybe she thought there was going to be TV money, and they promised to promote it. Then they introduced her to Joe Kelly. She had never heard of Joe Kelly, but that doesn't matter. She is the promoter of record. Whoops, sorry about that. Yeah. She's the licensed promoter. She's the one who signed her name on the bottom line when she sent fighters a contract, right? She's ultimately responsible. If she makes bad business choices and bad choices with people that don't do what they're supposed to do, can I swear on here? I don't give a shit.
We always click on that. This is not made for kids. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So that shouldn't matter. Like, okay, I mean, I kind of get it, but she's been in this business a long time, and I mean, there's nothing. I don't think promoters should be allowed to rent their licenses out or loan their licenses out. No one should be allowed to promote, and technically they're not, right? So she's responsible. But this whole thing where she's saying, poor me, I got taken advantage of, and he didn't do what he said he was going to do. That doesn't matter, because the only one that promised to pay the fighters was her signature, Teresa Tapia. Mm-hmm. I don't care what anyone else did. I don't care that there were only 300 people in the entire arena. That means she didn't do her job.
Absolutely.
So she didn't even promote the show. So therefore, is she just an event planner? If that's it, go do birthday parties and bar mitzvahs and leave the fighters and people that want to promote friggin' fighters do their job. So that's the problem. We got a bunch of event planners that think they're going to promote, but they're not promoting shit. That's how I feel about it. But that's it.
I agree.
That's it.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's
it. I agree 100%. Let me ask you this, Clare.
Sorry, I went on a rant.
No, I love it. That's what we have you on here for.
That's a big responsibility, right? And like you say,
exactly.
If you sign up for it, you must produce. That's nobody else's fault.
There you go.
So for Teresa Tapia to come with that cop out because the show didn't do what it was supposed to do, that don't fall on everybody else who you say didn't do their job. You hired these people, so you put your trust in them. That falls back on you. But speaking of that, you said when you put that post up, you said someone contacted you from Triller to take it down.
Well, they didn't contact me directly. They called a matchmaker that they know that they work with. They called him and he said, "Hey, Clare, I talked to you." It was either Dave or Mike. one of the guys from Triller,
Mhm.
and they would like you to take it down. So I said, well, what's in it for the fighters? Total silence on the other end of the phone. They go, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And then I think he said something like, what, are you going to get all Detroit gangster on me? I go, it's nothing about being gangster. I'm asking what's in it for the fighters. I said, and as Triller just wants me to take it down because I attached Joe Kelly and they're doing another show with Joe Kelly next week. I said, it's disgusting that Joe Kelly would do another show next week when he just was involved in something that didn't pay fighters last week and they own like $46,000.
Wow.
So how are these fighters going to get paid? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know if I haven't heard they canceled the show, but a lot of people that are involved in it said that contracts haven't gone out, airline tickets haven't been bought.
Is that for this
So
weekend?
I contacted everyone. Joe Kelly's going to hate me if he sees this, but I don't care. I contacted everyone that I could that was on the card and said, hey, if you sold tickets, ticket money, I'd take my purse out of it and give them the rest. I would not hand over any money.
Wow.
But if they do, that's
man.
on them, but that's just my opinion.
For sure. And it's a
I
good
don't
one.
know.
And it's not like it's an unfounded opinion. You're right there in the front of these things and you get to see them. Now we see these things. First of all, I want to take a quick second because a lot of fans, a lot of people watching, again, they don't realize what goes into camp, right? They don't realize what a fighter has to go through. You're talking about because not everybody is Canelo Alvarez, not everybody's Errol Spence Jr. These guys are having to figure out how to make a living and work and still train. A lot of them have families, a lot of them are kids, and they're putting their life on hold for this stuff. They're putting their life at risk for this stuff, and they're not getting the money. I mean, this is what a lot of these fighters get into the business for to begin with. So I want people watching to realize that this isn't Clare Burke or Mr. IOTBA or JJ or the Spit Bucket just wanting to pick fights. These are people's lives. These are people's lives we're talking about, and somebody has to look out for them because again, it's not all the glamour that we see on TV. I keep pointing over there because I have a TV over there. Anyway, but I was going to ask you. We hear things like this happening a lot. Who would you place the blame on most of the time? Is it a consistent pattern? Is it most of the time the promoter, or who is it that's always responsible from what you've seen?
I mean, it's a promoter, but I blame the commission. This would be so easy to fix. All the commissions have to do, if you want to do a show and you're a promoter, they have the contracts ahead of time, right? Mm-hmm. They have the contracts. They know how much the purses are. The promoter should have to, I don't care if it's 3 days before, 3 days before, 7 days before, whatever the commission comes up with, that money should have to be turned over to the commission. They put it in an escrow account, and then the commission writes the checks from that account. That way the money's there. And if you're a promoter and you can't afford to do it, and I know some people are going to say, well, what about the little guys who are promoting and they're waiting for ticket sales and they've got to wait for that? Well, I understand that, but that's not the way it should be done. No. Because if you're counting on ticket money to cover the purses for the fighters, that's really messed up. I mean, what if you people worked at Amazon and they were counting on 20 million people ordering a widget today in order for you to get paid on Friday? You'd say, F you, I'm not coming to work. Sell your damn widgets first and then give me a job. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what they're doing. If they're doing that, other promoters, shoot, there's guys out there that tell fighters, and it's consistent. I wish I could remember off the top of my head the names, but it's consistent where they'll tell fighters that they're having a show. And there's this one guy in Ohio. God, I wish I could remember his name right now, but it absolutely escapes me. And he consistently says he's going to do a show. He goes ahead. This is what I think. I think he goes out, he gets sponsors, and then he has to have contracts and have people on box racks so people can look and verify there's a show. He gets sponsors. Then he never buys airline tickets, never sends anyone never gets any hotel rooms, never does anything, cancels the shows. I think he just keeps the money, the sponsorship money, and moves on to the next city. It's like the same guy over and over. Who are those other guys who don't always pay? Bigger Than Life Entertainment. they never pay. Langston King, total scam. You're definitely going to get scammed. He's never going to pay. And I guess Joe Kelly and now Teresa Tapia.
Wow.
I guess for sure. Those four I know for sure. And I'll tell you what, so many people have come forward that are afraid to say anything to Teresa, you know, to her face or come out public. But this is what I've been told. Now, I don't have proof of this. They said that every single show, there's someone that doesn't pay Teresa.
Yeah.
I mean, Teresa doesn't pay. So it's a pattern. So Joe Kelly, me personally, I think it was two people, two hustlers that were going to try and hustle each other. And she was like, I don't care if I have more than that. He's on the hook. He said he's going to pay the purses. I don't care if there's only 300 people there. So she didn't do shit. And then Joe Kelly was like, I don't give a shit. I probably got $20,000 for Triller. I don't know who got that money. I really don't know. It could have been either one of them. But obviously he didn't care. And now his story is, oh, I was only there because I had a fighter on the card. Tell me one damn person who puts a fighter on a card, you know what? I have my fighter fighting next week. I better take my business checks and have them printed out for all the fighters' purses and just carry those with me. Just that is such bullshit.
Jeez.
You absolutely were going to write those checks. Did you sign them? Do I believe that Teresa Tapia forced him to sign them under duress? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't go to you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You're not in Kansas anymore, Joe Kelly. I don't know if he's watching this, but you were not in Kansas anymore. I would not be messing around like that in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But I'm from Detroit. Maybe I've got a little street smarts than Joe Kelly. I don't know.
Like street
And
sweet.
speaking of that,
But that doesn't make any sense, does it?
Absolutely
Why
not.
did he have his checks with him?
and speaking
None
of
of
that,
it makes
Clare,
sense.
you know, it's really stunning. And I know, JJ, I know we probably take a commercial break out of this, but let me get this question out real quick.
Okay.
It's really stunning that you mentioned how they are putting everything on these fighters to sell tickets and depending on that money to pay the fighters. Like you said, these guys got jobs. Like JJ said, these guys got kids.
Absolutely.
These guys got to train. And what people from the 214 or wherever you at to across the pond don't understand, boxing is such a small community. That's terrible.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the biggest small world you'll ever be in.
Oh, you're absolutely
It's
right.
huge, but everyone talks to everyone, and people are going to find out. Like I said, the fighters who called me, I've never had contact with before. I didn't know them. And people reach out, maybe because they know I'm going to be loud about it.
Yeah, exactly. That guy next to you is the same way, Mr. IOTBA. And I don't know if you know what IOTBA stands for, but correct.
I don't.
It's I'm on that bullshit again. And I was
there you go.
I said, Clay, we have the perfect
awesome.
We have the perfect guest tonight because
I want to be Miss IOTBA.
There we go.
Hey. That's awesome.
When I seen that post, I say,
that's awesome.
When I seen her post, you know, because I always see her post, but bro, I said, I love the way you address the bullshit.
Yep, he sent me screenshots immediately, and I was like, yeah. I see it a lot. I see your post a lot, and it's somebody needs to do it. And I get worried. Just a couple weeks ago, we actually had Danny Bennett. She's fighting on this weekend fight card, the Triller fight card in Kansas City. And what I've noticed,
if it happens, right?
Is that the one Joe Kelly involved in, Jay?
That's the card.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's it. And here's what I noticed just these past 2 weeks. Danny has been going from city to city in the Midwest selling tickets 2 weeks before her fight. I feel from the outside looking in, she should be in camp. She should be getting ready because she's ranked number 6 already in the WBC.
Promoters should promote their show. That's what I mean. He's not that's not being a promoter. That's being an event planner.
Absolutely. And how in the hell, I appreciate what Danny's doing because, you know, we always hear, oh, this guy's not marketable. This guy's not selling tickets or whatever the case. She's taking it upon herself to go out and sell these tickets. But now she's a sweet, sweet girl. She's a humble girl. She's a hard worker. She's putting it all on the line. And now I'm worried for her because what happens? What happens if she didn't sell enough tickets while her promoter is supposed to be doing it? You know, it's a scary, scary world. And then for me, especially as you start to know these people, like they're not just people you see on TV or on the internet. It's hard to watch. It's hard to accept. And I'm grateful. We are grateful for people like you who are putting it out there, and hopefully more folks start to do it, because if we want boxing to be around in 20, 30 years for generations to come, we have to take care of the up and comers. And that's what he and I are so passionate about. We put a lot of attention.
I mean, that's the whole thing. That's my whole reason. Right. I agree with you. I'm right there with you. I love you guys. I love what you guys do.
Well,
so I mean, I'm right there with you, though. I mean, that's the thing. And people will say things like, well, you were going to go to a commercial, so I don't want to go on another rant.
Well, let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back,
because we do got some more things to discuss.
Oh, we do.
About.
Okay. We most definitely do.
All right.
60 seconds.
Oh God, you're gonna put me in the hot seat. I'm prepared.
We all have battles. We fight. We train. We work. We persevere. And we celebrate. We are all one.
I can't do anything if I can't walk in my prosthetic. It's a lot of pain that I feel throughout my day. It can be very intense. Now I just put that balm over it and it will heal up much faster and it will let the callus recover. That's amazing. It is a total game changer. I am hooked. I'm just hooked.
Life is hard. KO makes it better. KOCBD.com.
KOCBD.com, discount code TSB10. This is my little miracle jar. Any type of muscle pains, you need recovery, anxiety relief. This is pure CBD. It's safe. You won't fail a drug test. Check it out, guys. I promise you. Shout out to our friends over at KO Therapeutics. They're doing big things, especially for the boxing world. So let's get back to it. I think you were about to make a comment about, I don't know if you wanted to continue, but we definitely have other stuff we wanted to touch on as well.
No, you guys go ahead. I was probably going to go on another rant about someone. Go ahead. I'm good.
We love the rants, though.
We do love the rants.
So our next thing
Broner Williams.
Is Broner versus Williams, right? Because you made like everyone has the right, to speak on something, and you gave your own opinion on that fight. You said this is a ridiculous and dangerous matchup, a 95-5 fight at best. Adrian Broner versus Michael Williams Jr., February the 25th on pay-per-view. Michael Williams Jr. has no business getting in the ring with Broner. I already know some of you will say Broner is out of shape, not ready, etc., etc., etc. Let me be crystal clear. Broner doesn't have to be in top shape or Broner ready for this to be a dangerous fight for Williams. Williams' father is living through his son vicariously, and he's going to get his son hurt. I absolutely hate this fight and pray for Williams' safety. Wow, that was a statement right there. Can you give us your thoughts on when you made that statement?
So Michael Williams Jr., I like him. I think I don't know if you've ever met him or spoke with him. Yep. He's a nice kid. Mm-hmm. He has a good heart. He's a sweet kid. He just really wants to please his father. And I'm just going to throw that out there. So let's really look. I mean, I hate to use him an example, but he's the example I use all the time. So even when he was 19-0, right? And before his first loss on, what was it? PBC, right?
Yeah.
Against who was it?
I forget who it was. It was on ESPN against Lazo.
ESPN. There you go. Right. Thank you. Okay. So even before that, people would, they always ask me what about rankings and how does all this work? And when I explained to them that rankings work, they're based on who you fight and who they fought before you fought them, how they won, how they lost, and the same for you. But not only that, but your rankings. So once you fight somebody and you beat them, you want them to go on to win fights. because every time they win a fight, it affects your ranking as well. It's not just who they fought before you fought them. It's who they fought before and after you fought them.
Like a strength of schedule in college rankings or strength of schedule. Yeah.
Exactly. So at the time, I'll say it was Michael Williams Jr. was like 19-0, and I would show people what I'm talking about. He was ranked, and then there was a guy who was 4-2-1, ranked 27 spots above him. So you have to look at that and go, oh, well, then what she's saying must make sense. It's not just about having a perfect record. So Michael Williams built his record because his dad matched him up with, I call skip fighters. Are you guys familiar with skip fighters?
Well, elaborate, please.
Okay. So Skip Crumpler has been a cutman, cornerman for years, and from what I understand, he's a very good, well-known cutman. Good. I love that about him. But Skip Crumpler has made a business out of driving around Wilson, North Carolina, and there's some projects there. And someone got all offended at me one time. Why do you call it the projects? I didn't just, that's not a racial thing. That's what they're literally are, the projects. I mean, years ago, they built the projects. So he would drive around Wilson, North Carolina, and then he used to run a rec center there. He would get kids literally off the street. They could be working at McDonald's today, never put on a pair of boxing gloves in their life, and literally a week later be fighting in South Carolina on some ridiculously, talk about low budget, horrible promoter show in South Carolina. Because in South Carolina, I'll tell you this, I could go on forever. On their licenses, every other state has how many amateur fights have you had, and then you have to show, give them proof of some states, and other states don't. South Carolina literally has a box that says how many amateur fights, or are you an off the street fighter? What the hell is an off the street fighter?
Wow.
Does that mean you just got on the back of Skip Crumpler's damn van? So then he takes these kids by the van full, and I am not exaggerating. He literally brings them by the van full, 2 fights in South Carolina. He charges, let's say, I don't know the amount, but I've heard that it's like $400 for each kid for travel, even if it's $200, and he's bringing 8 kids, right? Then they're getting purses. I was at a fight in South Carolina, and this is when I first went, what the hell is going on here? I had an ABF title fight scheduled for that card, which, by the way, I pulled from the card because I said, I am not going to be any part of this shenanigans that's going on. This is now talk about some bullshit. This was some bullshit. First kid comes out, and, well, first of all, I'm in the back, and I'm watching Skip Crumpler teach these kids how to throw a punch.
My God.
I'm like, maybe these kids have only had a couple amateur fights. At the time, I didn't really know who he was. But anyway.
Please tell me you're lying.
The kid came out.
Please tell
he's
me
wearing a chain. Yeah, he's wearing a chain. He's got an earring in and a T-shirt. I'm like, this kid doesn't know what he's doing at all. Now my dog has her toy, and she's going to start making all kinds of crazy noises. My dog, I swear, she's like, you've been on long enough. So anyway, so then that kid, the ref has to tell him, like, take off your shirt, take off the chain. So that kid comes out. The next kid comes out. I'm like, he's wearing the same shoes, and he can't get the bite in his mouth. And I'm going, that bite the mouth guard doesn't fit him. I look, I go, oh my God, they're sharing a mouth guard. He brings these kids. So you get the point. I don't have to go all into it. The next kid comes out with Skip Crumpler, was so scared. Just as the bell rang, he pissed his pants in the corner.
Claire, I feel like you're making this up. Please tell me you're being 100% serious. That is insane.
What? I'm not making this up.
Wow.
I'm not exaggerating. I'm not saying he got scared. The kid literally pissed his pants. So as soon as the bell rang, at this point, and look, I'm not even supposed to be saying anything. I'm talking to the ref. I'm going, that's not even his mouthpiece. They're sharing a mouthpiece. The bell rings. The ref calls the fight. The promoter's all pissed off. He's like mad. He's like, what's going on? He goes, the kid doesn't have a proper mouthpiece. I can't let him fight. Now, whether that would have happened if I was there or not, I don't know. But definitely, I was like, he knows that I was watching. And I know the guy, so he's probably like, oh, shit, she's going to write some shit about this. Stop it. The next kid pisses his pants. I'm like, what is going on here? So then I had asked the commission. I said, hey, I don't understand what's going on. They're like, well, there's Skip guys. Skip brings these guys. Anyway, I'll make a long story short. You get the whole idea, right?
Sure.
These are all the people that Michael Williams has fought. Now, I'm not just saying skip fighters like skip fighters. He literally has fought skip fighters. So then I went on BoxRec when BoxRec was easier to manipulate and move around and figure stuff out. At one time, now I could have the numbers slightly wrong, but it's pretty spot on. Out of Wilson, North Carolina, from 2018 to 2022, there was like 57 debuts. They don't even have a damn boxing gym anywhere near Wilson, North Carolina, but that's okay. That's a lot of debuts, okay? Wow. Out of those 57 debuts, out of that time, their overall record, are you ready for this? 12 and 260, I think it was like 68 or something like that.
That's terrible.
That doesn't, so you know damn well, I'm not exaggerating what I'm saying. So actually, if you Google Skip Crumpler mismatches in boxing, there's an article I found written back in 2011. So Skip Crumpler's been doing this at least since 2011. Someone called him out on it. So my point is, that's who Michael Williams has fought. He hasn't built up any skills to do this. The kid can't defend himself. So to put him in there, it's just irresponsible by the commission, the matchmaker, and his father. And his father, did you see his father all over? We're ready, 300%. 300% isn't even a thing, you dumbass. I'm sorry, but I mean, come on. 300%. I'm sorry. I'm doing all right. See, now I forget we're on a podcast.
No, you do your thing. We love it. We're here for it. God. We're here for it.
So I mean, and his dad thinks that I am so obsessed with his son and his team, and I'm just a hater. That is not true. What I hate is that his father is putting him in these situations that he's not ready for. Best case scenario, if that fight would have happened, is his son would have just been severely embarrassed.
Wow.
That was a no-win. You know what I'm saying? The kid doesn't have the skill. He's now, 20-1? Yeah. I mean, how do you build him up now? How do you go back now and say, well, now I'm going to get him the right fights? It's too late. He's already 20-1. You can't do it.
That's it.
Roy Jones. Whether Roy Jones really, what?
No, we want to hear more about that. The Roy Jones.
Okay, so even though Roy Jones, he's saying Roy Jones told the dad he didn't like the fight. That's not unusual for Roy Jones. I mean, all right, I'll just say it. Everyone he trains isn't great. I don't know if they're just not great or if he's not a great trainer. I have no idea. He has yet to prove to me that he's a great trainer. Roy Jones is one of my all-time top 10 favorite fighters. I love him. But Roy, stop trying to make everyone fight like you. There will never be another Roy Jones. Take that as a compliment, not anything negative. It's not going to happen. And all these fighters that I see him training, look at my dog. My dog's like, it's my
special guest.
Literally,
I say that all the time about Roy Jones.
We got a guest. We got a canine guest.
Say that to your dog. Though.
Yeah,
it's the first dog we've ever had on the show. So
don't just say hi, don't you?
So
she has no concept of personal space.
On that Roy Jones.
Sorry, I went on another rant.
I have a theory on the Roy Jones thing. I had a follow-up question, and I still want to ask you, but my theory on Roy Jones, and I could be completely off, right? But obviously, Roy Jones was a special talent. You can't teach what Roy Jones had. But okay, do you guys remember, and Corey, we haven't even talked about this, but you remember when Roy was fighting and at the peak of his career, in the corner, in between rounds, he wasn't even paying attention to his trainers. He was looking at the cameras. He was looking at the fans, waving, being silly, all that stuff. I always wonder, how is that going to transfer from him being a fighter to a trainer, knowing that he didn't really – I don't want to say he didn't listen to his trainers. I don't know what happened at camp. But during fight night, he kind of had that, I don't need to listen to you. So there's two pieces.
Type of attitude.
Yeah, you can't teach Roy Jones style. And second of all, I wonder what that connection is, because I remember even as a kid, I'd be like, man, that's kind of disrespectful to not listen to your coach in the corner and wave at the cameras. So I always wondered how that would translate to his coaching career. And no knock on Roy. I think that he's one of my top 5 fighters of all time. But we've
And
seen
he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a hell of a dude. He's in Dallas. He's in Dallas quite a bit. But going back to the Michael Williams Broner situation, you almost ask yourself, because Michael Williams got hurt in camp, and shout out to the guy right there in the middle, because he had the story, he had the scoop whenever we found out that it was Roy Jones wanting to pull him out of the fight. But maybe Roy was right. Like, he kind of proved it when Michael Williams got his jaw broken in camp. You can kind of blame him for saying, all right, why are we doing hard sparring a week before the fight? But maybe maybe he was right by wanting to cancel and pull him from the fight. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that he was trying to break the kid. I do think that Williams' dad was right about that. I think he was trying to show the kid, like, this is nothing. This is sparring. You're going to get it 10 times worse in the ring. I think he wanted to show him, like, you're not ready. And the dad wouldn't listen. But Roy was 100% right. That kid's not ready. He shouldn't be in that ring. And it wasn't a matter of Roy. And then I really doubt Roy was going to be in the corner. Roy wasn't in the corner the last time. But I wonder, how much does Roy really, truly train these fighters? Roy doesn't live there.
Yeah.
Is he just doing camps with them? And then and then they're saying, oh, Roy Jones trains my son. How can he be there? He trains one kid out in Washington, right?
Well, he was in Germany.
And where did they live?
He was in Germany the weekend before the fight was scheduled. So
I wonder, like, how much does he really actually train these fighters? Like, I don't think he's their full-time trainer either. But that's, I don't know that. It just doesn't seem like logistically, how can he be everyone? Because who does he? There's that guy right out in Washington, that kid. I can't think of his name right now. He trains him. And then he's got Williams, and then that other kid. They're all in 3 different parts of the country. How's he training them every day? The answer is he isn't. So I don't even know how much he really trains them. But he didn't need to be in that thing, right? That broken jaw might have saved that kid's life. That kid does not need to be in there with Broner. I don't even know if Broner needs to be there with anybody. But I mean, and someone said, well, Broner's not who he used to be. I said, Broner could be drunk and on cocaine and beat the crap out of Michael Williams Jr.
Good chance he will be.
Yeah, and speaking.
But what do I know? I'm just a girl.
Yeah, just a girl.
Speaking to that, I agree with you 100%. Claire, I say this all the time. Yeah, Roy was an excellent fighter, but so what? We know that. As a trainer, he has been terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. Like, we ain't seen him succeed or even have a contender as long as he been doing this. So I think Roy need to really look himself in the mirror, because at the end of the day, Roy got to understand he's still a celebrity. He still want to get paid to go here and there. Michael Williams Sr. came out and said it himself. Roy wasn't even there all training camp. And I was just thinking to myself, and I say this respectfully to Michael Williams Sr., if he wasn't there all the time, why was he your head trainer?
The name.
It's all smoke and mirrors. It all looks good. Oh, my son's trained. And that brings you back to my point. I don't know how much he really trains any of these guys. Is he really any of their full-time trainer? How is that possible? I don't know.
It could be a marketing, a branding thing, but I'm with Clare. Like, yeah, you want to market and brand your son before the biggest fight of his life. At the same time, you want to put him in the best situation for the fight of his life. I remember when you posted that, and Michael Williams, Mike Sr. went on his rant, and I was kind of torn a little bit because like sometimes I feel, who are we to say this kid is not ready if he feels he's ready? So and they understand the risk and all that. So it's not necessarily I don't know where you draw the line at saying, okay, that guy's ready, this guy's not, from a certain perspective. I did see that as a big mismatch, but I don't know how you can successfully or efficiently tell a dad or a coach your fighter's not ready. Like, where do we draw that line there? Like, is there a standard? Is there, obviously all we have to go off of is box rec, your amateur records, but what do you think needs to happen in boxing for us to say, okay, bam, this guy's ready to be a pro. He's ready for these type of fights.
I think we need commissions that are part of the boxing community. Part of it is a lot of these commissions are political appointments by the governor, people that have never, boxed in their life, or not even that, have ever been around a boxing gym or don't know anything about boxing. There's a lot of commissioners out there. Like I said, it's a political appointment. So that's part of the problem. But I think there has to be, matchmakers have to be responsible. I mean, there should be some kind of licensing or some kind of, there has to be some kind of standard set.
Sure.
Common sense has to prevail. If you watch that kid fight, anyone could watch him fight, even if you don't know anything about boxing. Watch his last 3 fights, and he doesn't know, he's not that good. Could he have been better? Maybe, but he didn't. His dad was so worried about. Come on, the kid was like 7-0, and Michael Williams just makes his own tennis shoe line. That's all so ridiculous. No one wants to buy his damn tennis shoes. You know what I'm saying? You're laughing. He did. He did. What? You bought a pair, didn't you?
Yeah,
you're wearing them right now. You're wearing them right now.
Show your shoes right now. He's wearing the new Michael Williams Jr. That's funny.
And it's.
And we're not. Listen, I'm laughing. Yeah, we're laughing at a joke. And
No.
Hey, well, look. While Clare's laughing, there has been situations like the one that stands out to me is like when Nevada pulled Jaime Munguia from the Triple G fight because they said he wasn't ready. I don't remember all the details that happened at that fight, but they said he wasn't ready for Triple G at 160, and it changed his life. He goes back down to 154 and he becomes a world champ. So,
yeah, but JJ, it's a difference though. You can't, we just got to be honest. Clare right.
No, she is. I'm making a
no.
point.
I'm saying that she is right. You salute anybody who trying, to do the best for their kids. You respect them as that.
Absolutely.
But like she say, you can't speak what your eyes can't see. If your eyes is telling you that, that's what it is. This ain't the sport of I don't want to hurt your feelings. This is a sport of letting the truth come to the power and the power come to the truth.
Right. Why I'm worried about people's feelings though.
Oh yeah.
Marketing
is
everything. Marketing is everything. But the reason why I laughed at the comment she made, because she right. At 7-0, you make a shoe. That's jumping out the waters a little bit too quick. We just got to be honest. This is this just telling the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm
not saying don't promote him, make T-shirts, things like that. But come on, his own tennis shoe, that doesn't even make any sense. That really doesn't. His dad he wanted to make it look like it was something that it wasn't. He was taking 500 steps forward from where he should have been, and where he should have been was nurturing his son, getting his son competitive fights that he thought he could win, but that he would learn something from as he went on. And he didn't. He just wanted to do all these South Carolina skip fighter fights in some crazy ass promoter show with people pissing in the damn corners and get him first round knockouts where the kid learned nothing, and the kid really thought he was great. And the kid might still think he's great, but I don't see it. I don't see that fire in
Eyeball
him.
test. We talk about the
I
eyeball
just
test.
don't see it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not, a Jedi. I'm not like, oh no, I see it in this one and not in that one. But you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I don't see it. I don't hear it when he talks. I don't see that confidence. I just don't. I feel bad because I think he's a really nice kid. I was so happy and cheering him on from the background when he was going to retire from boxing and go into the police academy. I was like, yes, do it. This is great. And then this Broner thing came up. Remember the fight with, do you know who John Carden is?
Mhm.
The guy who put the special Olympian on his card to fight.
Oh my, yeah, I heard about that, but I didn't.
That guy.
Yeah.
Remember his wife Miranda?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember that fight?
I remember the situation.
No.
I remember the
Right,
situation.
where he got a fight for her, and I even called the commission on that fight and said she's only fought, and this is not no disrespect to strippers. I'm just saying, okay? I'm not no disrespect, but all she fought was strippers. And I'm not making that like to be funny. I mean, it's sounds kind of funny, right? They should make a song like she fought a stripper and I don't know, whatever. But anyway, he I don't know what I'm losing my mind here. So, but he would go and get strippers that were willing to fight her, and he'd put him on his own cards, and he got her a little bit of a record. Now, she says she didn't know that they were, that might have been true. She might not have known. He might have said, hey, I found you this fight, whatever. And then they put her in that fight. Who did she fight? Oh, I can't remember. My mind is not crystal clear yet. But remember that? And as soon as the bell rang, the girl came flying across the ring. Miranda didn't even take one step out of her corner, and she was knocked the hell out. Yeah. Those are the types of things. Now, I called that whole thing out. I called the promoter out. I called the matchmaker out. And that matchmaker, he came forward and said, I messed up. I screwed up. I should have looked into it better. So I respect him. But if he would have said, no, that was a good fight, you cannot tell a good fight just by, you have to look at, who does a good job? Texas does a good job. They do a good job of saying, you know what? This person just doesn't seem to have the skill to fight this person. Or I think I don't know this person's skill, but I know this person's skill, and the person's 0, 1, and 1. So I'm not going to let it be scheduled for a 6-round fight. I don't think that the person has the skill to go 6 rounds with this person, but I think they have enough skill to be somewhat competitive. I mean, those are the jobs. That's what the commission's supposed to do. If they don't know, ask for some tape, ask for some sparring. Like, that's their job, is to approve the fights. If not, what do we need the commission for? Or the matchmakers should do it. They're just responsible. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I just think there has to be accountability. And when people screw up because they're lazy, which most commissions are, they're lazy. They don't do their damn job. So fighters aren't getting paid. Fighters are allowed to fight people that are pissing in corners in South Carolina. I keep saying that, but I mean, that's ridiculous. And people all they see is like these big fights, and they see all the glamour of it, and they see all this. They don't see all this stuff. And I'm going to say this. Now, I mean, I call people out, but I do it because my heart aches for, look, I'll start. Now you guys got me almost crying. My heart aches for these fighters. My heart is so, I can't even explain. I sound like such a goofball right now.
No. Yeah.
I feel for these fighters. And people think they're fighting, for every Johnny Tapia, for every Triple G there's 300,000 fighters that are fighting fighting that are never going to be Triple G, that are never going to be Johnny Tapia. They're never going to get the recognition that Mayweather has gotten. That's never going to happen. And these fighters, people say, well, this fighter has a story. Sir, not meaning you, whoever's talking. Every fighter has a story. If they didn't have a shitty story to begin with, they wouldn't be here.
Fact.
You don't have it is in the beginnings, it is the poor people fighting poor people. Exactly. It is the sport of the oppressed. It's not, you don't have middle class, upper middle class white doctors and attorneys, or even black doctors and attorney parents, and their kids say they want to box. oh yeah, I'm going to drop you off the local. That is not happening. They're like, you can play soccer, lacrosse.
Yeah.
They're not putting their kids in boxing. What? You're laughing at me again. It's completely true, right? I mean, if you disagree, say it. I don't have a problem with it. But it is the sport of the oppressed. And then you've got, this is what angers me. So these guys just aren't fighting for a win in the ring. They're not, it's not just about that $1,800 they got for that 4-rounder, or if you're fighting in Mississippi, that $600 you got. You know what I'm saying? It's not about that. They're fighting because they're fighting for a different life. A lot of these guys, they have dreams of, I just want to fight. I want to make it, because they want to take their entire family out of poverty.
Sure.
It breaks my heart when they get screwed over. I'm pissed.
Fact.
It's like, and not that they're homeless, but it's like seeing the guy in front of you at a red light handing a homeless guy a hamburger, and then some asshole promoter comes by and grabs the hamburger and drives off. That's what I feel like it's equivalent to. It's shitty.
It's absolutely
shitty.
It's absolutely equivalent to that. And the best way
So
to,
it's not right.
the best way to
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was
right.
agreeing that you can always see what you just said, damn near poverty, because most of the legends started out from nothing. And I'm damn near want to say 100% of them. But look where they start. Go to the local gym, just little kids fighting just to stay off the streets. We had a guy on yesterday, one of the top amateurs in the country, Alex Hawley. And we asked him what his motivation was. And he had a really mature response. His mature response was, I'm fighting to get my family out. And he's only a 21-year-old kid. He's fighting so his kid doesn't have to fight one day. And that's what's different.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what's different about this sport. I say our sport. It's a sport I love. I grew up loving, and it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart when I see corruption, people not getting paid. It breaks my heart when I see people not robberies. I'm not saying close decisions. I'm saying robberies, because you don't realize what it does to the trajectory of your career. Having that.
Oh my God! Right? It affects their money forever. It changes everything. Everything.
I'm loving.
And you know what a lot of these promoters do, Claire? It be popular people in the city. It's not that they could fight; they just popular, and like you say, they find them somewhere, and they could sell tickets. Yep. We see it down here in Dallas all the time. As a matter of fact, it was just somebody who had a hell of a record. Like you say, South Carolina, what you call it?
The skip
fighters?
Skip fighters.
Yeah, skip fighters. Had a bunch of skip fighters on their record. You seen a person come down here who had like 6 fights compared to this person almost 20 and wiped them off the floor.
Yeah.
But the only reason why
I love when that happens
was in that position because they were a ticket seller.
Right.
It's terrible. Right. It's terrible.
It is.
Now, look, are you okay on time? Do we have a little bit longer with you? This has been a great discussion.
I'm fine. Since I've just been like going on rants, I feel bad about that. But no, I'm fine.
I love it. So speaking of the Texas Boxing Commission, speaking of the eyeball test, speaking of great stories, we've got a fighter out here I know you're a fan of, and he was an ABF champion in Floyd Kid Austin Schofield. We've been big fans of him. He's had one of y'all's belts. He won the inaugural Spit Bucket Golden Bucket Prospect of the Year, the TSB Golden Bucket Prospect of the Year. We love Kid Austin. He kind of everything we've discussed tonight, because he's got a dad who thinks he's the second coming of Muhammad Ali. Probably thinks he's got the loud dad.
He's the greatest fighter ever. He's gonna be the greatest
he's
fighter
got
ever.
The incredible story coming up. They were homeless for a bit. What are your thoughts on Kid Austin?
Sorry, laughing at me.
What are your thoughts?
What do I think of Kid Austin?
Yeah,
I think Kid Austin has a lot of skill. I think he has a lot of potential. The kid has a work ethic. that you don't see in a lot of young fighters. I mean, that kid is, when I say he's always in the gym, he's always in the gym. He doesn't, I mean, but there's a, I think it's great. I would like to see him add to his training team. I'm not saying I think his dad does a great job, and I think his dad has done a fabulous job getting him this far. His dad's done a great job networking for his son and getting the right people with money that are willing to back his son. I think all of those things are great. I know that his dad loves him and has his best interest at heart. That I'm positive of. His dad and I have had some conversations just about little things. When, I was one tiny thing, I was observing hand wrapping the first time he fought for an ABF title. And, I was like, okay, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't his dad doing it. The next time there was someone else doing it and it wasn't good. I'm not going to say anything right before a fight because you don't want everyone, their head to be someplace else. But I called his dad afterwards and I said, you never know how someone's going to take something like this. And I said, I observed the hand wrapping. It's really not that good. And you're really going to want to protect his hands. Do you have, what is your plan to get him someone that's better at doing this and actually knows what he's doing? I mean, I can wrap hands, but I'm not great at it. I can do all the steps and people can watch YouTube and I did this. I put the gauze between but it's important. The tension has to be right. There's a purpose for all of it. And every step has to be purposely done with the right tension, with the intention of, with an understanding of how the hand works and how it's protected. And those things weren't being done. His dad was like, I'm so glad you called. This is like something we've been dealing with. And do you know anybody? Absolutely. I know somebody. I know Bobby Benton and Aaron, like right there at, one of the best kept secret gyms that are on the down low. It's in Texas. It's in the Houston area and it's called Main Street Gym. Remember Bobby Benton, his dad? Mm-hmm. Well, now Bobby Benton's taking it over. I mean, I think though that is a gym to watch. I mean, they're Shecky Foster. Love that. I love that kid. You know what I mean? And they're developing kids from amateur into that upper level. To me, I'm watching them as great trainers. There aren't many great trainers. Anyway, so as far as Kid Austin, I got all back. I think his promotional team is great. I think he's got Cameron from Davies Entertainment, who's new to boxing, but he has the financial means to do this right.
Sure. His
heart is in the right place. He's not doing this to make money. He's not making money. I mean, he's investing money into this to help fighters. So his heart's in the right place. He's smart. I think he has all of that, everything going for him. The only thing I would suggest that I'd like to see a little different is I would like them to add to the training team, because I think there's some things I think he's ready to learn some skills for the next level that I don't know his current team is capable of teaching him. But I think he could be one of the great fighters. I just think he needs someone else in addition to his training team. And I mean, no disrespect for anyone, because I think his dad is great. And I think he's doing the right things. It is nothing like the Williams situation where I say his dad shouldn't be any part of it. This is completely different. And I love them with all of my heart. I'm rooting for them. I'm probably rooting for them harder than they're rooting for themselves, and they don't even know it. I absolutely love them as a team. What do you guys think about him?
No. We love Kid Austin. And I think that you made a hell of a assessment, because you see he got it there. But you can see it's certain intangibles that could make him way better than what he is. And
I think he's great for the level he's at. I think he could be exceptional with some tweaks to his training.
He got Ronnie Shields in his corner now. I mean, Ronnie Shields is a hell of an upgrade and a hell of an addition to the team. And I feel like we've seen some improvements, but no, I
want to see Ronnie Shields, his next fight, head in the corner, in the ring with him, and I want to see Kid Austin listening to what Ronnie Shields tells him, what adjustments he tells him to do. Not that I don't like his dad, not that I think his dad can't do it. Like I said, I think his dad has done an exceptional job. I just think I want to see what he tells him. I'm not 100. I think that some of the corner instruction could have been more detailed in his last fight.
I agree. Corey, I didn't mean to interrupt you, dog. Yeah, I didn't mean to
Don't get
interrupt.
mad at me about that.
Oh, no. I agree 100%. That's a great assessment. No, we run a little short on time, but we also wanted to talk about
40 her 40 truths, absolute truths of boxing. Is that you? Did you come up with that?
Yeah. Oh my God, that's been so long, right?
Can you speak
You
on
guys
that?
really did your research.
Well, we
Can you
love
speak on
Clare.
your 40 truths of boxing? Like, can you just give us a analyzation and what made you come up with that, to put it out?
It could be a
the
book.
world see?
It could be a book.
Because of what?
It could be a book, I'm saying. It needs to be a
Oh,
book.
right. So, because there's things where people say, well, I think this is that. And it's like, but there's some things in boxing that are just absolute truths. There's things that you just don't do. Like, if you're not going to give up that nightlife, you're not going to be exceptional. You might be good enough. You are not going to be exceptional. You're not going to be someone that they're talking about 20 years after you fought. Don't ever important things. Like I talk about all the time. Don't ever turn down the right fight because of money. If it's the right fight to take your career to a different direction, to a different level, to give you that win, the money will come from making that decision. Don't turn it. I see guys turn down the right fight because of $500. Oh, I want $500 more. It's like, look, this kid's going to go on to win more fights. You can beat him. Oh, I get a couple more fights. In a couple more fights, he's not going to fight you. Right now, you're 1-0. He's going to fight you, and he's 4-0. And you can beat him. And they're like, well, then he's got to pay me more money. And they turn it down for $500. Then they come back to me. You think you can help me get that fight? No, not now. Now we just saw you fight too much. He's not gonna fight you. And what else was on there? And don't ever, that's important to me. Don't ever turn down the right fight because of money. And don't ever take the wrong fight because of money.
I love it. Yeah.
It's not about that. This is not a sport that you can say, you get your head hit like that. It matters. You know what I'm saying? Your head isn't meant to be hit that way. What else was on there? God, all kinds of things, like 40 different things.
This is the reason I say this could be its own podcast series. It could be a book. It could be because you have everything on there from things like timing always beats speed to there should be more free boxing pay-per-views. Like you cover it all. Like, not free boxing pay-per-views, free boxing fights. Like you cover it all.
Right.
I know we've joked around a lot tonight, but I'm not kidding when I say you should publish that because it is extremely entertainment. It could be its own series of books, not just one. Like it's
right.
Oh,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I remember reading.
I put time and thought into these things. You know what I mean? But it's just different things that I've learned just going around. And like I said, there might even be more, but I know for a fact that those are 40 absolute truths in boxing. There's nothing that no one could convince me. I'm going to tell you, no one could convince me that, well, no, they really don't need that. Or no, you can still do the nightlife, or we don't need more free boxing. We do. And I love you guys. I love what you guys do. I get asked to go on a lot of podcasts. I don't do a lot of them.
We appreciate that.
We
really appreciate that.
You don't turn down the fight for money, and you don't turn down the wrong fight. Well, you had two different separate ones. So
never. Yeah, right.
So my question is, when it comes to Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence, do you think Terrence Crawford made a mistake turning down that fight, or do you think he was on the right side turning down that fight?
I think he made a mistake turning down that fight, and I think to make it about money was a mistake. I think he should have just stepped up and took that fight, fought him, and for it to be all about money, and that was his reason, right? Wasn't it? He was saying that I'm not going to do it because the money's not right. if he really believed it was the right fight for him, that the money argument makes no sense. Take the right fight because the money's going to come after that.
Sure.
You're going to make that up tenfold. So he actually is going to be less prosperous in boxing by not taking that fight. So I call bullshit on that. That's not the reason he didn't want the fight. He just didn't want the fight.
I agree. I agree 100%.
I think
Because
that's bullshit.
and the reason why I say this, Claire, it was this narrative out there on Earl Spence, and it kind of looked it like that. Like Earl was giving Terrence Crawford every obstacle. But when the fight was right there for Terrence Crawford, he chose David Alva Neeson. That killed me in the inside.
Hey, look, I love Terrence Crawford to death. He's one of my favorite fighters in the world. I agree with y'all.
Yeah.
Though. I think he dropped the ball there. And the debate will go on forever until we see those two superstars in the ring. And I hope to God we see it.
But Jay, real talk, is it really still is that a fight that we really still want to see?
We've got about
is
9
that a
minutes
fight you
left.
want to see still, Claire?
I want to.
I think they've got about 6 more minutes before everyone just kind of gives up on it.
Absolutely. That's
By
what I
the
was
end of
saying.
this podcast, people are going to be over it. I mean, we've seen the memes, we've seen the jokes, we've seen
I'm tired
all
of
of
it.
this stuff, right?
I'm tired.
I mean,
of it. But
all of it. So, I mean, I don't know. I was almost like kind of gave up on him before. I was like, we're never going to see him again. He's going to be I suppose where he's remember that little flute thing he plays.
oh yeah, yeah, no kidding.
I was like, well, he's just going to retire and go play the flute over in
Yeah.
China for the rest of his life. I don't know.
Well, before we let you go, who do you have winning that fight if it ever happens?
Oh God, it depends when it happens.
That's a hell of a- if we get it in 2023,
I'm gonna go with Spence.
yeah,
You guys going with Crawford?
He's going Spence.
No,
I
I
give
got
Crawford
Spence.
a slight edge.
I got
but
Spence. And the reason why I got Spence, I think he's more defensively responsible than Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is a guy, Clara. When he get hit, he don't work his way back in responsible to put himself in position. Terrence Crawford want to get his lick back. So both of them are phenomenal on offense. But when it comes to defense, I think that's what's going to win Earl Spence the fight.
I agree. Plus, with Crawford turned on the fight, it makes me question his confidence. So I feel like because if he was confident, the money wouldn't be an issue. I mean, he wants to be paid right, but to turn it down because of money, because it makes me think that his head's not in the right space.
Well, we'd see
I gotta go with Spence.
We'd at least see a trilogy there that would be fruitful for the rest of it, money that would set him for life. And I'm sure he's got it now, but anyhow, I'm with you on that. I got tired of talking about it for a bit, but it's interesting to see other boxing geniuses like you. And thank you, Claire, for joining us.
Oh yeah, genius.
I love that we've had such an insightful conversation, and we haven't been talking about all the big names. We've been talking about the sport. But before we let you go, is there anything you've got going on that you want to shout out or promote or anything along those lines?
I really don't. I feel like so bad. Like I don't have this big ending, like this big crescendo here. But no, I don't. Boxing for me is like every day, and I'm in it for the guys that are, you know what I mean, that are the up and coming fighters. I'm rooting for all of them. I truly am, and that's the whole reason I do the ABF, and so I can go out, network, meet these fighters that are just starting off, that are in the, like I said, the up and coming parts of their careers, the show fields and things like that. So I can teach them how things are supposed to happen. I mean, I'm a stickler. If you ask anyone who's worked with me, I'm sure if you ask Sheffield, they're like, no, Claire's not messing around.
Yeah.
Like you're not getting your hands on those gloves until they're going on your hand. She's gonna be like there with her little computer eyes going, I don't know, that looks like you got to move that tape back 1/18 of an inch. And no, I mean, I'm a stickler. And the reason I do it is because I want to teach them, so when they go the next level, what to expect, so they don't get screwed over with gloves that aren't right or no glove ceremony and all of that. So that's all I really got. I don't have a big ending.
We love it.
No, that's a great ending, because we really appreciate that. and we love that you in the sport of boxing and what you do. And we definitely, Claire, look forward to having you on here time and time again when you're ever able to make the time to come on the Spit Bucket podcast.
This was fun. You guys, when you guys are ready for my bullshit again, just call me. I think when I put in my name, I'm not going to put Clare Burke. I'm putting Miss IOTBA.
There it is. I knew that. Yeah, there it is. We love it. Well, thank you so much, Claire.
No, I'm changing it now.
We love it. We love it. You one of the most brilliant boxing minds we've had on the show, and we really
oh my God, really? Yeah. Thank you.
No,
oh my God, that's like a huge compliment.
No doubt. I loved all the X's and O's talk. So thank you again. We look forward to having you on as soon as possible. Give us a shout if there's ever some shit you want to talk, and we'll jump you on. And we'll do a visual post of your Facebook post.
I will. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Seriously, it's been completely my privilege to be on.
It was awesome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good night. See you later. Wow.
We'll go shout out our other sponsor real quick, then we'll come back.
We'll go to a quick commercial break and we'll talk a little bit about what you had to say. All right, listen up, guys. We're calling all Little League coaches. We're calling all middle school coaches, calling all high school coaches. We're calling out all those team mamas. If you need team uniforms, if you need jerseys, accessories, whatever gear you're looking for the team, please check out our friends over at Elite Sportswear. These guys do it all, and they do it great. So if you're needing a brand new look for the younger athletes, for the teams, do me a favor, trust us with Elite Sportswear. These guys do all of our gear here at Spit Bucket Podcast, hats, shirts, hoodies. We could not be more pleased with them. So check them out over at thebetteruniform.com. You can find them on Facebook at The Better Uniform or on Instagram, Elite Sportswear 17. That's Elite Sportswear 17 on Instagram. Again, if you want your team looking super fly on game days, do yourself a favor, do the squad a favor. Call Roderick and the team over to Elite Sportswear ASAP. Let them know the Spit Bucket Podcast sent you. Shout out to the homies at Elite Sportswear. Check them out at thebetteruniform.com. I'm sure there's somebody on here with a team with kids who need some upgraded gear. I promise you guys, check them out. They will hook you up. Let them know the Spit Bucket Podcast sent you. But Corey,
Jay, look, we got
show.
A big one tomorrow night. We got a huge guest. This dude, I consider one of the big dogs on YouTube who done made his way. Southpaw Boxing TV. Man, this dude right here is the truth. Whether you agree with him or disagree with him, this guy is great at what he do. And JJ, I look forward to having Southpaw on our show tomorrow so we could give that man his credit for how he done rose in this YouTube and in this boxing world and done stamped his name from the 214 of where everybody at to across the pond.
No doubt, man. If y'all haven't heard the guy's got his opinions. We just had an opinionated woman. Oh, I wouldn't call her opinionated. Her stuff's facts. But this guy will let you know what he's thinking. He will not hold back. And he does it in a way that only Southpaw could do. It's a very unique style. I can't wait to have him on. I can't wait to hear the back and forth. I can't wait to hear his opinions. So we're looking forward to it, guys. Again, tomorrow we're going to have Southpaw TV joining us tomorrow for some hot boxing opinions with another very hot boxing opinion with Mr. IOTBA. You guys do not want to miss it. I have a feeling tomorrow I'm just going to be the special guest referee. Like, this is going to be great having your opinions with Southpaw. So yeah, we're looking forward to tomorrow. You guys tune in. Be sure to set y'all reminders, set up y'all notifications, like, share, and all that good stuff. Corey, anything else? What an interview we had tonight, dog. That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Clare Burke, man. Man, she the absolute truth. And I don't know if y'all know how I say truth, but that's TRUF, truth. She the absolute truth, JJ. She good for boxing, JJ. She just great
We need more
for this
players.
sport, and I look forward to having her on her consistently, bro, because her talking points are facts.
Facts.
Whether it hurts your feelings if you're one of them people she's talking about.
Mhm.
It's like if it hurts your feelings, if we're talking about them people, it's facts. So I really appreciate Clare for coming on this show, man. And she the truth.
Absolutely, man. Well, before we leave, shout out to KOCBD, shout out to Elite Sportswear, shout out to Clare Burke and the American Boxing Federation. We love what y'all are doing, cleaning up the sport. We need more Clare Burkes. But Clare, until tomorrow, Mr. ILTBA, have yourself a good night. Give that family a big hug. Give the kiddos a big hug from us. And I will see you. I love it. Look at them big heads. Look at them big heads. Let's give them what they want. Oh, sorry, I'm looking the wrong way. All right, brother. You have a good night, man. I'll talk to you later.
This is JJ Solomon.
This Clare Bradshaw, Mr. ILTBA. Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. And this is the Spit Bucket Podcast.